Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and in this video, we're going to be taking a quick look at how to do well in this spider tournament that is going on right now, where we can only use certain champions from the Gaellen Pact, which is going to be the Ogre and Tribes, Lizardmen, Skinwalkers, and Orcs, so that if you are getting after the Void Shard and the Kale Skin Fragments, that you will have a path to success. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, I expect this one to be a very tough event. The Gaellen Pact is probably one of the weaker out of all four of them. Obviously, the new one with only having two factions, Dwarves and Shadowkin, would be tough as well. But this is going to be a very difficult event for a lot of accounts out there. And if you can do it, I do think it's worth trying it out, because there is a Void Shard up there for 2,100 points, and getting more Void Shards in your account is great for the long-term success of pulling more and more champions and giving yourself more opportunities at the RNG finally hitting well for you. And if you're into the cosmetics, if you can finish in the top 3, you can scoop up some progress towards the Kale Skin that is up for grabs. And if you win, you can get the Kale Skin just added to your account. You can skip the fragments part of it. I do think it's going to be a pretty easy tournament to finish in the top 3. You can see as of right now, my group literally only has 4 people even trying. So pretty realistic to get into the top 3 if you're able to put any sort of a team together. And as we get ready to dive into my team and what champions to take a look at when you're putting together a roster for this, I do want to make sure anybody that watches my content has heard me mention this before, but don't feel bad about dropping down to level 20. If level 20 is a little bit easier for you to get complete, you do actually get more tournament points per energy spent in stage 20, because it takes a lot less energy. It's 16 energy versus 20 energy, and stage 25 does not give you enough points on average to make up for the big energy increase from 20 to 25. So 20, 24, and 25, usually the 3 stages that endgame players will farm, and 20 is actually the best for points per energy in a tournament. Then if you would like to see the team that I am going to be running, it is going to be this one right here. We have got Uragrim in the lead spot as an epic from the Ogre and Tribes, providing some heals, sustain, and a speed aura for me. I was lucky enough to actually get Krisk recently on the Krisk 10X, so we're going to be taking him for a spin and using him in this event. He's obviously got a lot of utility, soaking up damage and increasing the buffs and all of that. Ignatius is going to be an S tier champion for this event, especially if you're doing stages 24 or 25, because of the AoE HP burn. You got the spiderlings take their turns, and then they're going to constantly burn down the spider queen. Then we've got Draco, the good old Draco, with the AoE defense down and weaken, and then his A1 will also hit extremely hard against the spider. And then Claude Beast Feeder is a champion that a lot of people undersell and kind of forget about, but he does have a really good speed buff and kind of a nice kit and rotation in order to be a nice little filler to make sure you're cranking out as many turns as possible compared to the spiderlings and the spider queen that you are facing. And if I fast forward to the end, these are not going to be speed runs by any stretch of the imagination. This is going to be something I'm just trying to have available to go ahead and multi-battle type of thing, to scoop up some points, and I'm going to get my Void Shard and peace out. Because as you see with this team currently that I kind of threw together with gear that was currently on my champions, and not trying to spend millions of gear reworking everything just for this event, I'm in between somewhere between like 2:30 and 3 minutes with this team, and just kind of getting the points that I can. And I also did try stage 20 with the same exact team instead of stage 25. And you can see up there that it was actually slower. It was like it was almost 4 minutes instead of like 2.5. So might as well go ahead and just ride it out with stage 25 with the team. And it is what it is, that they're not going to be speed runs, but we're just trying to get that Void Shard and finish up in the top 3. But now let's take a look at these factions and see which ones to keep an eye out when you're kind of looking through, and which ones might make sense for you to try to put a roster together. So in the Ogren, obviously your S tier is going to be Ignatius. Shamrock is definitely underrated, especially if you've got him booked and invested in. He's really not that bad. He does defense up, speed up, and he can decrease speed and turn meter on the A3 here. So a very good A2 and an A3 for general utility if you actually invest in him. Biggin's got a lot of AoE damage if you're trying to do it the old school kind of just mass AoE, deal with the spider wings and burst down the boss. Can see him being good as well. And they've got a lot of good epics. Ugo for the defense break. Claw, like I was saying, he can do some shielding, which is always good in the spider, and then also increase speed on a 3-turn cooldown when you've got him booked. Can be your speed up kind of role. And Uragrim is nice that he has the aura of 20% in all battles and can also be a really good source of sustain if you're doing any sort of a shield, HP burn type of strategy where you're playing a little bit more defensive. I have also seen some people do some fun things based around Gerptuck and placing the poisons and doing the healing and hitting super hard and doing damage like that. I've never personally built a team around Gerptuck, but a worthy option if you've got him on your account and you're looking for ways to kind of tackle the spider, especially on some of those later stages. Then for the lizard men, obviously you've got Draco with the defense down, the super hard-hitting A1. He can be a very solid option. Rosin as well, a very old-school, tried-and-true option. He's got the single-target defense down and weaken that hits super hard, and he also does a lot of turn meter suppression, especially if you've got a high-speed team helping him kind of rotate and cycle through his turns as fast as possible. That can be very handy. Krisk, you know, I showed him in my team. He's kind of solid no matter what content you're doing. The Epic's a little bit underwhelming for the Lizard. You're probably not going to be using any of these on a team. A couple of them could make sense and be decent, but all in all, really not a whole lot else to go over here in the Wizard. Then for the Skinwalkers, unfortunately, they don't really have a whole lot going on here in the legendaries for the context of a spider. Now, Tamasia, a new one that can do really cool things, similar to Ignatius, with all of the AoE HP burn going on. So another S tier option here in Tamasia, if you are lucky enough to have that champion. You know, some of these could be decent, like Ragash. Cornar would be hype for slow runs, but could probably be all right. And the epics, really not anything amazing. I guess Hofferys, you've got the revive in case somebody dies or something, but really not an amazing option in my opinion. So yeah, probably not a whole lot going on in the Skinwalkers to pay attention to. And lastly, with the Orcs, you know, again, there isn't a whole lot of amazing opportunities. This is why I kind of said it's going to be a pretty tough event. Growhawk is a little bit of a sleeper maybe in an event like this. You get the 24% speed in dungeons, and he can do some turn meter suppression and tons of AoE damage, wrecking, and can hit decently hard if you've got him built in good gear and invested in. And then for the epics, you know, again, you know, Duck is really good, kind of like a Magic Divinity Stag Knight a little bit. But not quite as good as Stag Knight in the context of the spider, because you don't get the decreased speed on the A1, it's decreased accuracy instead, but can definitely be really good for lowering the attack, and the defense is definitely A or S tier for an event like this here with Duck. Another raid history 101, Seer used to be completely broken against the spider. There was like, back in the day, back when raid like first launched, somebody discovered that Seer could literally one-shot the last stage of the spider. You just place a few buffs, and then a level 1 Seer would just blow up the spider and finish the dungeon in like 5 seconds. And it took Plarium like probably 36 hours or so to get it like emergency patch. I didn't even have a Seer at the time. It was that long ago. I was like, oh no, I don't have a Seer. So everybody was out there getting their 5-second maxed out spider runs in as fast as they could until Plarium could patch it. But Seer has been nerfed since then. It can still hit decently hard and remove all your buffs, but isn't going to be what she used to be in an event like this. But yeah, you know, Duck is probably going to be the one you really want to pay attention to out of the Orc epics. But worth noting that Bloodfeather is a little bit underrated, can also do defense down and speed down on the boss between the A2 and the A3. So, you know, a lot of people just assume Bloodfeather is an F tier epic, but does actually have some utility, especially in any context where you're trying to debuff something like a boss, faction wars, or something like this with the spider, defense down and speed down. So that will do it for this one, and definitely please let me know down below in the comment sections if I forgot to mention any champions that would make sense or be good in an event like this that you think I should have mentioned in the video, because I always enjoy your input on events and tournaments like this as well. So good luck if you're going for your Void Shard, and good luck finishing up in the top 3 if you are participating in this tournament. That'll do it for me on this one. As always, thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.